Admiral's log. Whereas once the world scoffed at the notion of made in China, they now wear it as a badge of honor, a symbol of the unparalleled quality, reliability, and capability that our ships embody. Over the 2 past decades, Chinese warships have risen from their humble beginnings and became the envy of the world. Whereas once our shipyards were simple and unsophisticated, much like our ships, they are now modern and extremely capable. The yards are working around the clock to provide all of our valued allies with new warships for their fleets. We are, however, at risk of succumbing to our own success. Our shipyards are so overbooked that it is proven to be difficult to actually overhaul and refit our own ships. This leads to delays. Delays lead to ships being less advanced than they can be. And all of this success can eventually be the undoing of the Chinese Navy. This is something we have to guard for. If this persists for too long, our allies will have more advanced and more capable ships than our own navy. And our pursuit of becoming a global superpower, a beacon for strength, for stability, is going to be undermined. Hey guys, Stealth here, welcome to episode 24. In the previous episode, I created a monster of a warship called the Showboat class. Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back. It's episode 24 of the Chinese campaign. In the previous episode, episode 23, I built the Showboat class. Or rather, I designed one. And I said, this is going to be a ship for exports. And India said, sign me up. They're going to pay me $1 billion. Yes. They're going to pay me $1 billion in advance, and the rest of the amount will be paid upon delivery after 31 months, providing a total profit of 74%, aka $6.3 billion. That's the profits for this ship. Would you agree? Yes. It's going to add 100,000 tons to my already overstretched shipyard, so I am definitely going to need a bit more shipbuilding capability. I thought I already had a lot, but, well, we're going to need more. Thankfully, we are getting some relief relatively soon. In 4 months, in 2 months, there's going to be a state belt out and a Captain First Class. Yeah, we're slowly but steadily grinding through the whole backlog of ships. 45 months is not the original production time, but, well, shipyard's overstretched. I didn't actually expect to be able to sell these things. I thought, well, this is going to be a nice experiment, but it's an experiment that India wants to participate in. And India is definitely arming up for something. They're getting a showboat, they're getting a Chengdu, they're getting a couple of cruisers for escorts, and they're getting the state belt. I'm not sure exactly who scared India or like who hurt you, but these guys have a lot of firepower very soon. So let's try not to piss off the Indians, because, well, sooner rather than later, I might be on the receiving end of 20-inch guns. A few months later, the Ottoman Empire is also interested in one of the new ships. They want to get one of the Cursed Fish class battleships. In case you missed the previous episode, this is a battleship armed with 13-inch guns and 49 torpedo launchers per side. So that's why the name is, well, the ship's called Cursed Fish. These are far cheaper, but I am very curious to see how the AI is ever going to use that. Oh, and Croatia wants a state belt. Yeah, I don't mind another profit of 3.2 billion. I'm looking at 9.9 billion in naval funding already. It's just that people are going to have to get a little patient about when that delivery of the ship is going to take place. I am very much stretched thin. There's so many ships that I have to finish. Shipyard people work harder, because we have a lot of people who want warships. And if there's a lot of warships in the world, that can actually be good for me. Because the other warships, the ones that I'm building right now, I'm profiting off of being able to sell that ship to, for example, India. If at some point I go to war with Germany, I will be, for example, taking a fight in Bangladesh. There might be a ship here that needs to get dealt with. It is entirely possible that India will put me in control of their battleships. And as such, I'll be able to use their ships free of charge, essentially. They bought it, they maintain it. If I damage it, so long as I don't sink it, it's no harm, no foul. But I still get to use the ship. So it is very, very handy for me to start arming all of my assisting nations with additional firepower. If it's the cursed fish, it's fine. If it's the state belt, it's better. If it's the showboat, all the better. I have no idea where we're going with this campaign at the point. But I think the only real relevant party still left is Germany. Germany, with their massive fleet and their ginormous economy, I think should be the ultimate target. That is not likely to happen anytime soon, though. They have a lot of territory, they have a lot of ships, they have a lot of different colonies here as well in Africa, they have some here in Middle America. Taking out Germany would be the biggest step that I can probably take, but I don't feel that at the moment I'm ready for that. Especially not with my navy stretched so thin. Army logistics has recovered very nicely, but I have so many different territories to guard, especially against the loss of transport units, that at the moment I don't feel ready. But let's see if there might be another contender first. Welcome to May 1938. The United States has been re-established, at least part of it. The Gulf Coast area has now been retaken by what is now again the United States. They have the ports of Pensacola, Tampa, and Miami. This is quite a lot of tonnage, but it might be something that I can overcome. So what I'm going to do is see if I can stir the pot a little bit against the United States. They instantly reconstituted with 62 billion. We're going to increase the tension. We're going to make sure that these guys once again go to war. Because I want to get into the United States. It's still my objective. It's still what we're here for. And the fact that these guys were all ungoverned meant that I simply couldn't get in there. But if they are starting to reconstitute, well, maybe there's a second chance. Before that, though, we'll be looking into taking over Spain. The Spanish have been continuously provoking me. Most of the time I ignored it. But now the time for waiting is over. War between the Chinese Empire and the Spanish. This is going to be a snack, shall we say. It's going to be a nice snack. Because I'm not the only one who's already going to town against the Spanish. There is also quite a lot of attention from the Germans. So far they haven't exactly made landfall in Spain, but they don't have to, because the Spanish still had some other territories that they could take over. As for potentially interesting territories, Equatorial New Guinea, it's very quite lucrative. Like 1.3 billion is not cheap, but the Germans are already trying to make their way in there. As for the area over here, Western Sahara, we got Morocco. I'd say Morocco is interesting. Gibraltar would be nice, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be quite welcome in the Strait of Gibraltar at the moment. Surprisingly, it's only blocked for the Germans, not for me. As for trying to invade in Spain, well, this is very heavily defended, like 195 and 312. Over here we got 310 and 303, so that's over 600,000. And over here 230 plus 300. Yeah, this is way too much. If I want to try and get into Spain, I'm first going to have to try and weaken those ports. Maybe the Canary Islands can be a nice little stepping stone. So, mobilize the fleet. Where is... Oh! Ho ho ho! Eastern United States, or what used to be the United States, is now coming under attack. And there's no defense! Well, well, well. Isn't that nice? Where the heck is my fleet? There's one cruiser there. Anybody seen a couple of battleships? Some battle cruisers about this big? Ah, there's one battle cruiser there. Did I park them all here? No. Where the fuck is the Navy? Where the hell are they? Where the hell are they? There's a lot in Pearl Harbor. Valparaiso? Is that where I parked them? But that's Western South America. Where's the Caribbean? Like, we got one in the Caribbean. We've got pretty much the whole fleet's over there. Oh, right, and I did split a good bunch of the rest. Okay, fine. Oh, you guys never actually made it to Pearl. Ugh. They moored themselves like, I don't know, a kilometer or so away from there. Fine. Take 3 turns, move about 8,000 miles, and I'll see you guys over there. Oh, the Panama Canal is opened. Nice. Might have missed the pop-up there, but yeah, we now got the Panama Canal. That's going to make our expeditions a lot easier, because I don't have to navigate all around the South American peninsula there. Now, as for finances, I'd say we're doing quite well. I can even max out research, and I still have a surplus of 115 million a month. And this is as my shipyards are extremely busy. So I can have a massive amount of ships, and I don't even have to worry about not being able to fund everything. I have all the sliders maxed out. This campaign is looking like it's going quite well. Boom. Eastern USA, conquered. Thank you very much. This is definitely progressing a lot faster than I had expected. This thing jumped from 0 to 99% in one turn because these, let's say, disorganized forces in these ungoverned territories are very easy to take over. So next stop, southeastern seaboard or central USA, depending on what sparks my attention. This is a completely random event. It's not something that I can actually influence. As for the United States, they are still not exactly building anything. Their growth is not that significant, so I should be able to control them. In the meanwhile, my fleet is almost here. This is the massive heavy cruiser group, and they have just about arrived at Santa Cruz. So let's go pay a little visit to the Canary Islands. In case you're wondering why does this say 0 tons, well, I've already done a port strike. And because these ships got here early, the rest of the ships can basically just dock and say, this is ours now. We're going to plant the Chinese flag and be done with it. Will the Spanish actually try and get in our way? Not really. They have 2 light cruisers and 5 destroyers, but they're building supposedly 39 ships. I'm not exactly sure with what. I have, with this war, a sort of secondary effect, or secondary goal, if you will, which is to force these allies away from the Spanish. Because the more of these nations that I can arm, the more of these nations I can get to my side, the more money I can make. And with that, I can definitely start arming up my allies, and as I mentioned, if my allies go to war with me, well, that's a whole lot of additional firepower that I know is quality, and that will definitely provide me with a lot of useful ships if it comes to that. And by the looks of it, it's going to be a war with Germany in about 5 years. If I'm actually capable of building some new ships, though, because that's kind of a prerequisite. At the moment, I'm just using the ships that I have. My shipyards are so busy that I'm not even in the capability of upgrading them, because my shipyards are just completely overcrowded. So we'll just have to make do with the ships that we have, and especially against the Spanish, that should be sufficient. 2 months or so later, the French also decide to throw up a war. I'm not sure if they think that's for the best, but, well, if they want to have a go, let's see what they can bring. The French. This is actually a formidable naval power. 24 battleships, 8 battle cruisers, that's a lot of capitals. These guys went heavy on their capital ships and light on their escorts. This is probably, considering that they're supposedly a very advanced nation, not necessarily one that's going to be a complete pushover. It is an interesting opportunity for me to take over some territory in Africa. I mean, Senegal, 3 billion, thank you. But I would also, again, be stretching myself further So maybe it is more valuable to take over the territory in South America, which is something I already have to try and defend. Why are you guys not docking? Whatever. We're going Montevideo. If you're going to be there anyway, might as well send you to do something useful. We do have one cruiser parked in Lima. I have, well, let's say the occasional cruiser here and there. Sometimes a destroyer to make sure that I still have some naval presence. Because I have a lot of areas that I need protecting. My merchantmen are everywhere. This is not necessarily a good thing. Oh, there's the rest of the fleet. They too did not make it to Pearl. Okay, fine. You guys are going to go and station yourselves here for the time being and get ready to invade the rest of France. Where's the French fleet? Are they hanging around here? Yes. Oh. Oh dear. That's a lot of ships. Gentlemen, we have had a change of plans. This is the Enigma Han, 1927. It's 1938. I need to do something about these ships. We're gonna park these, I don't know, Buenaventura. And I'm gonna start preparing refits for them. Because I've completed the small guns tech tree, which means everything is now Mark V. But most of these ships don't actually have a radar rangefinder yet. So, let's see. We had the Enigma Huns from 1933. I don't think they've changed that much. They're still the same, let's say, galleon-esque warship. They still have their big guns. And, well, I might be able to equip them with a diesel engine. I'm just not sure if that's really going to help them that much. They're not particularly quick. That might make them more suitable for a diesel engine. Let's see. If I throw a diesel in there, yeah, you are saving some weight, but your display or your price goes up. I'd say money's not really an issue at the moment, so I can probably get away with that. Let's make sure that they got a radar rangefinder. That's good. I don't have anything better than autoloader. Flash fire chance is 1%. And this is the new and improved Mark IV 13-inch, the Mark V 8-inch, and the Mark V 3.9. Good range on that. Look at that, almost 13 kilometers. And yeah, if you fire AP, it's 13, but at 12.5 kilometers, even with AP, you'll pin like 0.3 inches. Even a destroyer is probably going to shrug that off. So I don't think that this ship needs a whole lot of refits. The diesel engine, like maybe if I give it a diesel engine and tell it to go 25 knots or even 26, that's a bit much, 25.5. That would make the ship a bit more capable. You're adding 10% to their speed, but you're also making them twice as expensive, and I don't want to do that. I don't think that that's particularly worth it. As for the rest, some of these are Aura-class battle cruisers. I believe that there's one state belt in there. I do want to have the state belt upgraded, because that is a valuable ship, and still has very good guns. I can make it even better if I'm able to add, well, maybe another gun, but that refit's going to take months. Much like this loading screen. So here's the state belt. This is the 1938 refit as I'm looking at it right now. This thing costs 2 billion. If I throw in diesels, we're going to 3.4 billion. I'm not getting a $1.4 billion upgrade just to have better engines. That makes no sense. As for other systems, they already got the rangefinders. The refit would mostly be guns, because we're then equipping this thing with the Mark Vs and the Mark V 5-inchers. I still have about 3,000 tons to play around with, which means I might be able to make them like 25 knots. And yeah, you're maxing it out very quickly with that. What sort of main tower does this thing have? Whoops. Didn't mean to completely wipe it. You got a modern tower 3. You don't get a more modern tower than that, apparently. Some ships do get newer towers. This is modern tower 3 enhanced. Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. Yeah. So what I can do is just increase the, let's say, the mark of the guns. I think that's about it. The mark of the guns and then 3 knots. And that's 3 months. That's fine. I'll accept one of my capitals, my super capitals, being out of action for 3 months. I can have that. The other ones... meh. The deal is, I'm not so sure what exactly I'm going to be facing from the French. Are those, what was it, 24 battleships that they have? Is that a large concentration of trash? Or is that just a group of very modern battleships? Because if that is 24 modern battleships, then we're going to have a very tough fight. If it's a bunch of trash, then I'm not concerned. Or at least, not as much. Looks like the Italians might be next in line. Okay, fine. We're also fighting the Italians. If this is how you want to do it, let's go do it. First, though, we're going to have a look at what the French are made of. We have one warship. It's a Mechanic from 1927, the Cahar. Capable of using those 9-inch guns to ideally good effect because we're fighting a whole bunch of DDs. Speedboats. Built by the French. 34 knots, 37 knots, 34, 34. Yeah, just one outlier. That's the Malin. This is a... Holy shit. It's an $860 million destroyer. What the... These things cost 33 million. This thing cost 860 million. 15 torpedo launchers. And this is just one set of 5. Yes, I can probably defeat this. I can probably make this work. It's going to be just the issue of keeping that super fast boat at range. And I think that, well, that's the primary objective. Keep the super fast one at range. The game classed this as an ambush, but effectively we're starting at 22 kilometer range, so I'm not that concerned about how ambushy this actually is. My torpedo launchers might also come into effect here just to disrupt the enemy formation. As for my guns, these are the Mark IVs. I don't have the Mark Vs on these installed yet, which means that we only have a range. I'm mostly looking at HE. We can open fire at 16 clicks. Ideally, though, like practically, I think we'll start hitting things at around 10,000 meter range. We might get the occasional lucky hit, but probably not that many. As for these guys, what you look like? Yeah, pretty standard French DD. I'm not personally a big fan of how those torpedo launchers are situated, because this thing is not going to fire forward, this thing's not going to fire forward. It's going to be difficult for them to actually make use... Oh, there's another one. Of those torpedo launchers, unless this thing goes fully broadside. That's a big DD. A big DD. Range? 15. Oh, there's the fast boy? No, you're the cheap boy. You're the fast boy. That's why I can see you. Because you're a bigger ship. Alright. Alright. Let them just waste those smoke screens for now. What? Lucky hit. 21,000 points of damage. Perfect. Ship might not have had an upgrade in the last, I don't know, 10 years. But it's capable. Ammo detonation. Is that on the primary target? Yeah, it is. Wow. You're that accurate? Oh, you're that lucky. You're getting an accuracy of about 3%. Not bad, then. There's another one. Oh, they're low fuel? They got so many ports to refuel from, and they're low fuel? That's weird. There's another one with low fuel. A low fuel destroyer is one that is in massive difficulties. Because a low fuel destroyer is just a very, very slow destroyer. Which means, most likely a dead destroyer. Yeah, we're gonna not shoot armor piercing anymore. Just use HE. I am gonna prioritize that extremely expensive destroyer of theirs. There we go. They're now starting to shoot back with their 5-inchers. I don't think a 5-incher will do that much. I think the torpedo launchers on those ships are far more dangerous. Can we launch our torps? Just here? We need 10-6. Oh, we're gonna get there soon. We'll be getting there soon. Waste of a good destroyer, though. Waste of a good destroyer. But then again, you invest this much into a DD, either you're really rich, or you get some really stupid designers. I have had comments, by the way, that destroyers from some nations are crazy expensive. Like, absolutely ridiculously expensive. And maybe the French, too, are suffering from that specific fate. There goes the Malin. She's gone. 4-inch guns only. What makes her so expensive? Like, what you have? Electric steering? Meh. Diesel engines? Probably it. Anti-flood, triple hull bottom is just heavy, not expensive. I think it's the diesels paired with 37 knots. It's just a really bad combination. Holy shit, these 5-inchers and the 9-inchers are doing work. Are they even in range yet? No. And there's the torp. There's another torp hit on the sinking ship. Sorry, Frenchies. I didn't start the war. You did. I'm just here to finish it. And take over some of your territory, because it seems like the campaign's goal is now world domination. The age-old dream. Which is a bit of scope creep relative to I'm going to embarrass Japan. Now we have started taking over serious parts of the United States. We're at war with the French, the Italians, and the Spanish all at the same time. And if things persist the way that they are, we're pretty much going to carve up the world between ourselves and the Russians. Between ourselves and the Germans. Which is, well, I think rather unusual for China. These DDs have nothing on me. All I have to do is just kite away a little bit and let the guns do what they do best. And it's just done. Well, that was nice. You got survivors? Do you? There has to be one that's cloaked. Might have been running away. Yeah, there's a smoke screen over here. Or it's really low fuel. There it is. It's low fuel and it got damaged probably in one of those first shots that randomly hit something. And this is what that turned out to hit. So it's low fuel and it's mostly flooded. This thing's doing what, 8 knots? It's going to be really slow. It started lagging behind so much that the rest of the formation died. I don't have to get into torpedo range. Boom. Gone. Cool. It's the first kills against the French. Now keep in mind that their destroyer fleet is actually the minority. They have far more dangerous units that are going to be coming to me pretty soon. Or at least I hope that they do. Because at this rate, it's turning into a bit of a pushover campaign. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing if the French battleships can actually turn that around. And wouldn't you know it, another player has joined the game. The British are back. They've defeated the remnants of the ungoverned. And they are reconstituting. It's just going to be a very different Britain. Because, well, give it a few generations and they'll all speak German. Because the German Reich has taken over Scotland. They've taken over northeastern England. They've taken over eastern England. They've taken over Shetland even. Yeah, I don't think the British are going to be that big of a deal. As for the French, the army has sent forth some men, about 7 million, all the way towards Laos. Would be nice if I can grab that. It is now starting to be almost a world war, because the world's divided into so many different, or actually so few players. You got My China, which started out here and now spans, well, the world. Like, it doesn't completely span it, but I have territories everywhere, including now the port over here at the Canary Islands. As for the French, they got territory, of course, in Europe. They got territory in Africa. They got territory here. They have territory there. They have some territory in Africa. They got territory here. They got territory there. Good luck defending all of that. That is going to be quite the enterprise for them. I can potentially take Malaya, cutting off the Strait of Singapore here. It's completely dominating the area of Southeast Asia. Because the only other player that's still out here, by some miracle, is the Russians. How did you even get here? Okay, anyway, we got Russia over here. And, well, we got the Germans. But I believe the relationship with the Germans, yeah, it's not as good as it was, but at least we're not at war. Okay. We're not at war. How's our arms production going? 1 month until a heavy cruiser comes off the line, another one. Then about 19 months for another state built. We get the showboat and we get the cursed fish. How much? I can only... I might have messed up here, because I can only refit about 60,000 tons, and my state belts are a bit bigger. This one in particular, they're 86,000 tons. So that's going to take 5 months to refit. The Kahar is getting repaired. That's the one that just got ambushed. And everybody else is in various different locations. Let's invade a bit of territory from the French, I think. I can't do that? Huh. Oh, you can only join, or you can only play one... Yeah, I think you can only play one particular action in the politics screen per month, so per turn. That's unfortunate. So we're going to have to wait for these guys. Oh, there's a meeting. A meeting? Are we finally going to see the French battleships? Are you going to show me what these things look like? Come on, build your new ships. I want to see. Not the French. It's the Spanish, with whatever they have left. They got the San Martin, a heavy cruiser class. The Spanish Coast Guard from several campaigns ago all over again. These guys got 4 7-inch guns. What joke of a cruiser is this? The star of this battle is the Commander Valkyrie. This ship, capable of firing 12-inch guns, 9-inch guns, and launching torpedoes, was originally designed to take on the enormous amounts of ships that the Americans had. Light cruisers, destroyers, tons and tons of stuff like that. But, well, this ship can still face off against a heavy cruiser without much of a worry. It is a bit of a weird ship, because as I was designing it, I believe I started changing the draft slider, and so it's a bit of a see-through ship. Like, you can look under the main tower. Chinese magic. So, yeah, it looks a bit weird, but otherwise it's a good ship. The real question is, where's the enemy? We have quite a few of our cruisers with me, because this is I think the 21 cruiser division formation. Just a massive amount of heavy cruisers. And I am pretty confident that they can face anything that we might come across on the battlefield. Anything. Except each other. Because these things are, I'd say, somewhat likely to start torpedoing each other, leaving each other as the biggest threats that they can possibly have. Alright, is this your Coast Guard patroller? This is what you call a cruiser? No, this is your light cruiser. At least I hope so. Like... This is a poor excuse of a ship. I think I had ships back in 1910 when we started that had more firepower than this ship in 1938, I think we're at right now. The only ships that actually have something to fear are the DDs. That's... That's all that thing can really sink. It's not even carrying torpedo launchers. And it's already been damaged. What are you? Wow. 8 7-inch guns and torpedo launchers. Wow. Here's the real threat now. Come on, game. At least give me the impression that you're trying. This is their DD. Looks like a fairly modern ship. It is already looking at something with torpedo launchers, most likely my DDs. Yeah, 12 clicks out. It can launch torpedoes. So let's have the Commander Valkyrie not get too close there. And considering that these two are armed with the sonar equipment, I'm going to have to try and save torpedoes for that. I don't think I'm capable of launching that just yet. I can launch the 13 clicks. The rest of the fleet is basically just set and forget, like go forth and just deal damage. That's all I really have to do. Just deal damage. I don't really have to do any particular formation so long as these guys never get the opportunity to launch. If they do, well, then it's going to be anybody's guess where the torpedoes end up. Most likely they'll go into some of my ships at some point. But this thing wasn't carrying torpedoes. This guy is. And there's their cruiser, which is already coming under fire from 12 of my other ships. There you go. Oh. I'm sorry these battles aren't more entertaining. It's starting to turn into a bit of a snowball campaign, which isn't interesting for me, it's not interesting for you. So I'm really banking on the French, and later on the Germans, to bring back the fun of fighting these ships. Because the Spanish, well, they make a valiant last stand, but it's going to be very, very brief. They're not exactly going to be capable of holding up a fight like this for long, because they got no territory, they have no provinces beyond their, beyond their main and, well, like 2 or 3 provinces beyond that in Africa. So I'm not exactly that impressed with them. I'm going to end it here. It looks like we still have definitely some fights ahead. The French, the Spanish, the Italians, if you add all of these guys up, well, they definitely have some firepower between them. The Spanish have a battleship, the French have 24, and the Italians have 7. Beyond that, it's a lot of cruisers. So we'll just have to start taking down the cruisers, and maybe those Chengdu-class battle cruisers that I have are going to come in very useful in that regard. So join me soon for the next episode, where we're going to continue the war and see just what battle lies in front of us. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon for more.